The most remarkable life still undiscovered on our planet will certainly be found in the sea. As new machines explore this inner universe and go beyond the realm of familiar creatures, we are finding animals that defy our imagination. These are the cephalopods, and they add to the splendor of the ocean a galaxy of extraordinary shapes and colors. No intelligence could be more alien to that of humanity than these living kaleidoscopes, peering out through strange eyes with a curiosity that seems particularly aware. For one American biologist turned filmmaker, the desire to learn more about this enigmatic group has become something of a holy grail. Mike Degree has spent half of his life studying and filming these quite incredible suckers. The blue waters of the tropical Pacific hold a greater variety of marine life than any other ocean. And for Mike Degree, this island group, Palau, holds something very special, the most ancient of the cephalopods, the chambered Nautilus. These tiny islands of limestone, each a mini rainforest, are fringed by what most divers, Mike Degree included, regard as one of the most beautiful reefs on Earth. "20 years ago, his journey of discovery started here.
The realm of the elusive Nautilus is not up here near the surface where you can take a camera, but down there, 1,000 feet into the abyss. And on this trip, we've brought along a helper. This is Homeboy, a remotely operated camera vehicle whose previous assignment was to explore the interior of the sunken Titanic. I checked it out for what amounts to a journey back in time. Homeboy's job is to bring back the first ever pictures of chambered Nautilus, the living fossils in their natural surroundings. Homeboy's unique images will travel up the little sub's electronic umbilical cord to the support boat, where my friend Dr. Bruce Carlson is waiting.
I can't believe this technology. Think of it, 17 years ago we first came to Palau catching Nautilus. We had no money, no budget, pulling up Nautilus traps by hand.
We know there are Nautilus down there because we've been here a number of times before. 20 years ago, we trapped them in 1,000 feet and attached primitive radio transmitters to them. We were the first to record the movements of individual animals. We found they traveled up and down the reef and on journeys as long as 20 miles. These transmitters also gave us the secret of the successful transport of Nautilus from Palau to the Waikiki Aquarium in Honolulu. They enjoy temperatures close to freezing. At the time of this expedition, Bruce and I were both students working in Waikiki. Bruce is now the aquarium's director.
Yeah, these look good. Water's clear. They all look terrific. Welcome to Honolulu, boys. How are yours?
Thanks to the success of Bruce and Mike's collecting expeditions, Nautilus are the star attraction at the aquarium. Nautilus have barely changed in 400 million years. They didn't need to. Back in the Cambrian era, the seas were filled with heavy-shelled bottom dwellers. Nautilus lifted off the bottom, defying gravity with their gas-filled shells, and swam with the first jet engine, a water jet.
By today's standards, Nautilus are sluggish and poor hunters. But way back in the Cambrian, when most living things barely moved, a mobile creature like this with 90 tentacles, jet propulsion, and a beak which could bite through rocky shells was formidable.
Bruce and Mike saw their first Nautilus eggs laid that same year. But after months in the tank, they were judged infertile and eventually thrown out. The very first baby hatched from an apparently rotten egg more than 9 months after it was laid, and 15 years after Mike and Bruce first brought Nautilus here. To this day, however, baby Nautilus have never been seen in the wild, which is why Mike and Bruce wanted so badly for Homeboy to take the camera down deep on the Palau reefs.
It's passing 300 feet and continuing down.
This is sort of the twilight zone, you know. The light is diminishing down here. It's getting darker and deeper. Nobody's really seen this area. This is really exciting.
Keep beaming us down, Jerry.
The landscape down here looks like the moon, barren with huge silt-covered boulders and very little life. What there is looks distinctly alien. We turned the cabin of the boat into mission control for the ROV. And finally, there they were, Nautilus in the wild, the first ever.
They're probably, the best we can tell, scavengers living off of the dead animals and detritus and things that are raining down from above. They've probably been here for hundreds of millions of years in this kind of habitat.
But then, after this one tantalizing taste of success, disaster. Water had flooded the engine room, and in less than 10 minutes, the boat and all their equipment was on its way to the bottom. Miraculously, their mayday call was answered by a lone fishing boat, but their ship and a fortune in equipment was never seen again. But you can't make your way in the marine film business without considerable nerve. And in a matter of months, Mike had re-equipped and was on the trail of the cephalopods again. Leaving Nautilus behind in the icy depths, Mike went in search of the animal on the next rung of the cephalopod evolutionary ladder, the cuttlefish.
Cuttlefish exploited the shallows where the grass, or in this case the seaweed, was a lot greener. Instead of 90 arms like the Nautilus, the cuttlefish need only 10. The huge chambered Nautilus shell is gone, but they do have an internal shell. And rather than making the cuttlefish more vulnerable, that bared skin has been turned to a very good use. Immediately after emerging from the egg, they're like miniature adults, capable of feeding and fending for themselves. 2 of their arms are specialized feeding tentacles. A major advantage over the Nautilus, and probably the most distinctive cephalopod feature, are the chromatophores. These minute sacs of color cover the skin and are individually controlled by the animal to create virtually unlimited color patterns. And to see these extraordinary color patterns, cuttlefish have developed an odd-looking but superb eye. Reproduction obviously involves sex, as we know it. The male, on the right, is passing a sealed pack of sperm to his mate, which she stores until her eggs are ripe. Then she breaks it open and fertilizes them. Since fertilization isn't immediate, the male must shield the female against all comers to ensure that it is his sperm that fertilizes the eggs. This sometimes escalates into violent fighting between the males. And of course, some fights are lost. A new male usurps the old, and now it's his turn. However, first he does a shrewd maneuver that no one knew about until we filmed it. He sticks his funnel into the female's mantle cavity and literally flushes out the previous male's sperm. You can see the white flakes of sperm flying out of the female. Then he mates. And once again, the female tucks a sperm pack into her body to await the ripening of her eggs.
Caring cuttlefish? An altruistic alien? Are these strange animals even more complex than they seem? Cuttlefish are studied intensively at a marine laboratory in Galveston, Texas, where biologist John Forsyth is in no doubt that they are underrated.
Yeah, around the lab, Mike, we call these the puppy dogs because we come in every morning and they just want to come over and say good morning and say what's going on. Play with you a little bit, see how you're tasting. Now come on, be nice to our visitors. In one area, color changing, Forsyth regards his animals as unique. They're clearly the masters of color change. Maybe a chameleon might be the next on the ladder of animals that are good at this. Yeah. And you know, whereas these animals have thousands of patterns, the chameleon might have tens of options. Yeah. And in fact, a sepia baby coming out of one of these eggs on minute 1 of its life can blow a chameleon away as far as the things it can do with color change. It's just unique.
Well, they really are amazing animals, but I think for me, why I was most interested in them is the way they appear to watch you. It's not just that you watch them, but they observe you too.
The Cuttlefish Fan Club at Galveston has another member, Dr. Shelley Adamo. She's looking into another aspect of what all the colour changing might be about. Is it communication? Body language? She puts her theory to the test by inviting her cuttlefish to watch television. She videotapes cuttlefish changing colour and making distinctive signals with their arms, and then she plays the tapes back to other cuttlefish. There's no doubt that the cuttlefish in the tank signals back to the animals on the screen.
Test whether animals are communicating and not just making random signals. What you really need to do is to take a sequence you know they respond to and then test to see whether they really do give you a reliable response. They, in a sense, have body language, and they have a body language that has an incredibly huge vocabulary. They have many, many different patterns that they could potentially use. What we don't know is whether they actually, or how much of it they actually use. But it is hard to imagine that they'd have this huge repertoire and not have any of it mean anything.
As well as cuttlefish, the Galveston team also studies squid, the animal on the next rung of the cephalopod evolutionary ladder. Dr. Roger Hanlon is a world expert on squid, one small species of which he regularly collects in the bay behind the laboratory.
Wow, we've got squid. Here we go. There's a nice large female.
Now, these are all the same species?
Yep, look at that. This is how big they get right there. Here, right there. There's one right there. Beautiful, transparent animals. You can see the brain right between the eyes. Very good for study.
It's a
little
place for the
juvenile.
brain.
This is her.
Like cuttlefish, squid have excellent eyes. In some ways, they're even better than ours. Squid are considered more highly evolved than cuttlefish, as they've lost all traces of the primal cephalopod shell. Instead, they have only a thin, transparent pin serving as a flexible backbone. Squid are far and away the most numerous cephalopod. Some, like these loligo off the coast of California, form huge swarms each year in a beautiful mating ritual. Like all cephalopods, the male passes a spermatophore to the female. She either accepts or rejects it and may mate many times before finally fertilizing her eggs. Once fertilized, the female wraps a couple of hundred eggs in a rubbery case some 4 inches long and plants it directly into the sand. Sex is terminal in squid. After mating and laying eggs, they die, providing a banquet for scavengers. Horn sharks and thornback rays are common. But interestingly, the eggs go untouched. Apparently, the predators can't detect the rich food supply through the egg cases and appear to ignore them. These lovely gardens of egg cases are scattered all along the California coast.
It's hard to believe that there is intelligence or even awareness in these squid when their life and death is so preordained. But the studies Roger Hanlon and John Forsyth are conducting on these squid in the tropical waters of the Cayman Islands reveal a wealth of apparently intelligent behavior.
Caribbean reef squid, like the cuttlefish they keep at home, are definitely aware of the scientists' presence. In fact, it's hard to tell just who's studying who. Hanlon and Forsyth's observations have revealed one reason why squid need a big brain. The moment danger comes, they think themselves invisible. Not only do they change their shape to match their surroundings, but they also build appropriate color patterns all over their bodies. If you take your eye off them while filming, they vanish. Obviously, it also happens to barracuda. And as soon as the danger passes, the corals turn back into squid.
Years of studying the Cayman Islands squid have caused Dr. Hanlon to regard the advanced cephalopods with an enthusiasm verging on reverence. The lectures he gives his students, based on these field studies, have an evangelical fervor.
This is obviously an animal of intelligence. It has a very large brain. In fact, it's the largest brain among any invertebrate animal. Sometimes these brains in large squids are literally the size of a soccer ball. Very, very large indeed, with millions, in fact, billions of cells in the brain, capable of performing many functions. And the real question is, are these squids thinking? There's considerable evidence that they can do something similar to thinking. Squids can think a variety, a huge variety of colors and patterns that we as humans can't possibly do. The best we can muster is a flush, or to make a tapestry of clothes or variety that still is unmatched. These really are incredible animals. The more we study and learn about them, the more incredible they become.
Male Caribbean reef squid compete for females with gorgeous displays. This is literally a dance of desire. The winning male, brilliant, iridescent, then swims with the female. He always keeps the richest color pattern toward her, while the other half of his body flashes pure white to repel any nearby males. Finally, the time has come. In a fraction of a second, he mates. With incredible agility, he passes his spermatophore. And if she accepts it, she carefully tucks it away for future use.
But not all the squid are cute little creatures in flamboyant livery. At night, the squid world is a very different place. And in certain circumstances, divers go there at their peril. You enter a world of specters, a time when the squid turn into hunters in the company of other ghostly hunters. It's from images like this that the legends of monsters of the deep must have come down to us through the course of history. Until quite recently, these legends were regarded as myths. Then, two friends of Mike Degree's, Howard Hall and Bob Cranston, went swimming in Mexico's Sea of Cortez and saw something stirring in the depths.
these pictures were taken, these were the largest squid that had ever been photographed alive. And Bob, who's over 6 feet, is being very brave indeed. Humboldt squid are huge and incredibly strong. They have massive sucker discs with a tough chitinous hook, giving them unrivaled gripping power. Their beaks could take off an arm. And imagine this. There was a scientist with these divers, Alex Kirstich, who was grabbed by 3 of these things and dragged down way past safe diving depth. He fought himself free only by squirting air from his regulator into the squirming mass of tentacles. But you can't blame the squid. To them, Alex was just a chunk of food that didn't have the sense to swim away. Not that it would do us much good to swim away. Compared to squid, we're useless in the water because we haven't spent the last 400 million years evolving in it. But this has, the pinnacle of the cephalopod evolution, the octopus. No trace of a shell here. Octopus are a mass of thinking, sinuous muscle which flows like water. This has to be the most ambidextrous body design on Earth. That tube it's trying to pass through is 1/10 the size of its body. Octopus can squeeze through spaces not even Houdini would dare. This gives them a huge advantage as a predator. As amazing as I think these creatures are, even I was not prepared for what I saw them doing on Australia's Great Barrier Reef. Here in the tide pools lives a little red octopus that hunts at night in a most unique fashion. He leaves the water and hunts on land. This is a thinking, scheming predator, infinitely resourceful. His very shapelessness disguises his presence as a hunter. He swims, crawls, and forages in the tiniest of crevices, sending tentacles round one side of a rock, then attacking from the other. In fact, this octopus is not just a hunter, he's a gatherer. He tucks his victims away before returning to his lair to eat them at his leisure.
It's no wonder that of all the cephalopods, octopus have always had the worst reputation. Marine lore is full of stories of giant octopus attacking sailors, even dragging down their ships. But a good part of Mike Degree's interest in the subject is to dispel myths damaging to the reputation of the cephalopods. There are giant octopus on the planet. Indeed, they're quite common in America's Puget Sound, and they're known locally as devilfish. But just how devilish are they? Mike decided to offer himself up to a Puget Sound devilfish.
We all talk a lot about that first contact with intelligent aliens. Well, this was mine. However it appears, I never felt threatened in this situation. It was more a mixture of affection and curiosity. My only danger was that I might run out of air, because I didn't want this extraordinary experience to end. Finally, this gentle giant tired of me, tucked its many arms back into swim mode, looked me over one last time, changed into an object as alien as any spacecraft, and cruised away.
Which brings our story full circle. As we said at the beginning, the last truly incredible forms of life still to be discovered on this planet will be found in the deep space that is the sea. Our fragile and pressure-sensitive bodies cannot go where these last Earth aliens live. But our restless minds can, and oceans everywhere are now being cut by the hulls of ships loaded with oceanic spacecraft. One of the most sophisticated of these is the submarine built by the Monterey Bay Aquarium Research Institute to probe the mile-deep Monterey Canyon off the coast of California.
This vehicle has a full-blown mission control buried in the hull of its support ship. Here, I joined Chief Scientist Dr. Bruce Robeson, Pilot Jim Levinson, Steve Etchemendy, and Jay Steinhardt for one of their deepest dives to date.
Hey, look, Jay, we've got a squid.
light probably attracts the squid, and the squid attracts sharks. You can see ink released by the squid as this blue shark bites.
Pretty elusive, so you'll have to chase it. Oh, look, it's starting to
Oh,
ink.
yeah.
There's 3, 4, 5 little patches of ink.
Well, we're down 1,020 meters now. This guy's going down.
A ribbonfish. They swim by undulating their body and can grow to 7 feet long.
Oh, that guy's beautiful. What's that posture? What's it trying to do?
It's called a cockatoo posture, and we're not sure exactly what it's used for. And the current theory suggests it may actually look like it's shortening itself to a potential predator. Most squids are known for ejecting ink out of their siphon, and this particular squid ejects it and keeps it inside the hollow body cavity, and becomes opaque. Oh, look at it.
Yeah, I see.
It's filled itself with ink.
Shall we hang out here and see how it behaves?
Yeah, let's watch this. The problem here is the squid is designed such that it's got to take water in, pass it over the gills, and exhale. So it essentially, if it wants to keep that ink inside, has to hold its breath. It's a design flaw.
That is a weird-looking animal. And this is the sort of thing you're seeing all the time? No wonder you like it down here.
We're at 1,240 meters, which is almost as deep as we've had this vehicle before. We're closing in on the canyon wall, moving out of the water column up towards the slope of the canyon. We ought to be there in a few minutes. We're only about 40 meters out.
The floor of the submerged canyon proved to be alive with cephalopods. Then, to our absolute delight, we had a much more substantial contact.
Holy cow!
Whoa.
Look at the size of that. What is it?
What is that?
It's a very large squid. I'm not sure which kind yet. Probably
my gosh.
Moroteuthis. It's really big.
Look at the tentacles. They're twice the length of his body.
He's fast.
Go, Jim, don't lose that. Go, stay with him.
He's fast. He's very fast.
Look at that.
I wonder how big he is across those fins.
Now, is that just me, or are those tentacles getting longer? Wow. What an extraordinary beast.
Look at how quick he could change directions. That's the tough part with following them, is they can just stop and go. The vehicle weighs 4,500 pounds. Oh, what's he doing?
Gone. Oh, don't lose him.
Let's see if the other camera where he is. Oh, he's grabbed onto the arm.
Okay.
He's got a hold of the arm.
All right, look at the way
We're being attacked.
Look at the way the pigmentation on the body has changed as soon as he contacted us.
Let's see if I can.
He went from a uniform color to all these patches.
Okay, I got it locked.
Okay.
He's
Inked.
inking.
Ink.
Yes, he's displeased.
Where'd he go?
All right.
He let go.
Where'd he go? Back off.
Oh, there he is.
Right, you see him?
Yeah, with the other
yeah,
camera.
good.
He's attacking the light. Oh my gosh, look at that.
More ink.
Oh, he's gone. He just booked.
Ooh, that was fast.
Yeah, he's gone. I don't think. Yeah, he's gone. Wow. That's the biggest one we've ever had here.
Nautilus is a really wonderful animal, but it's small potatoes compared to its big brother Architeuthis. Architeuthis is one of the most enigmatic animals in the ocean. We know that they're there. We know that they're huge, but no one's ever seen one in its natural habitat.
And what that means is that we can still only imagine what it would be like to meet an 80-foot squid a mile down.
One of the last big mysteries of the ocean that we know about. There are lots more out there that we don't even suspect yet, but which may be even more surprising and more rewarding than Architeuthis itself.
And then, quite literally out of the blue, came another contact to endorse Dr. Robeson's conviction that we have just begun to discover the full range of incredible creatures which must still be lurking down there. When we first glimpsed it on our screens, we couldn't really believe our eyes.
It's in good shape.
I don't believe it. Look at those eyes. The eyes are exactly the color of the water.
Meet Vampiroteuthis diabolus, the vampire squid from hell.
Close now.
I can't believe you guys are actually doing this.
They can move away at a pretty fast clip, which is why Jim has to do it all right now. Beautiful. Good job. All right.
Unbelievable.
That's the excitement of this kind of work, this kind of research. Knowing that those mysteries are there, waiting to be solved. We know that if we can just hang in there, sooner or later, all of those puzzles will become solved, and we can indeed understand the oceans the way we need to if we're going to live on this planet successfully.